Tall Tales by Sandburg. They have yarns of a skyscraper so tall they had to put hinges on the 2 top stories so to let the moon go by. Of one corn crop in Missouri, when the roots went so deep and drew off so much water, the Mississippi riverbed that year was dry. Of pancakes so thin, they had only one side. Of a fog so thick, we shingled the barn and 6 feet out on the fog. Of Pecos peat, straddling a cyclone in Texas and riding it to the west coast where it rained out under him. Of the man who drove a swarm of bees across the Rocky Mountains and the desert and didn't lose a bee. Of a mountain railroad curve where the engineer in his cab can touch the caboose and spit in the conductor's eye. Of the boy who climbed a cornstalk growing so fast he would have starved to death if they hadn't shot biscuits up to him. Of the old man's whiskers, when the wind was with him, his whiskers arrived a day before he did. Of the hen laying a square egg and cackling, "Ouch!" And of hens laying eggs with the dates printed on them. Of the ship captain's shadow, it froze to the deck one cold winter night. Of mutineers on that same ship, put to chipping rust with rubber hammers. Of the sheep counter who was fast and accurate. I just count their feet and divide by 4. Of the man so tall he must climb a ladder to shave himself. Of the runt so teeny weeny it takes 2 men and a boy to see him. Of mosquitoes, 1 can kill a dog, 2 of them a man. Of a cyclone that sucked cook stoves out of the kitchen, up the chimney flew and on to the next town. Of the same cyclone picking up wagon tracks in Nebraska and dropping them over in the Dakotas. Of the hook and eye snake unlocking itself into 40 pieces, each piece 2 inches long, then in 9 seconds flat, snapping itself together again. Of the watch swallowed by the cow, when they butchered her a year later, the watch was running and had the correct time. Of horned snakes, hoop snakes that roll themselves where they want to go, and rattlesnakes carrying bells instead of rattles on their tails. Of the herd of cattle in California getting lost in a giant redwood tree that had hollowed out. Of the man who killed a snake by putting its tail in its mouth so it swallowed itself. Of railroad trains whizzing along so fast they reached the station before the whistle. Of pigs so thin the farmer had to tie knots in their tails to keep them from crawling through the cracks in their pens. Of Paul Bunyan's big blue ox babe measuring between the eyes, 42 axe handles and a plug of Star tobacco exactly. Of John Henry's hammer and the curve of its swing, and his singing of it as a rainbow round my shoulder.